Welcome back to season 5 of Unlicensed. My name is Jill. I'm the host of Unlicensed. And if this is your first time tuning in, this is the podcast where real women write in anonymously about anything that they're dealing with in their lives, and different female guests answer and give their advice each week, including relationship coaches, therapists, friends, family, and social media influencers. It's been a while since we filmed, guys, so get ready, get excited for today's episode. I'm super excited. Today joining us is content creator, actress, and executive producer Katie Florence, who got her start on TikTok now with over 2 million followers, most known for her counsel series where she relies on her personified inner counsel to guide her through the chaos of adulthood. Now Katie stars in her own scripted comedy series on Peacock called The Counsel, where she serves also as an executive producer. Dude, you're doing big things. Welcome to the show. I'm literally so excited to have you here today.
What an intro. I'm just going to clip that and then post it on all my socials.
Please put it everywhere. I'm so excited for today's episode, but as you guys know, we like to get to know our guests a little bit more before going into the advice for today. So we're going to start with just some questions for you, dive into your background, everything. Before we get into, where you're at in your life now with social media, entertainment industry and everything, I want to take a step back. And I know before that you got your psychology degree from Central Florida University, and you were working with kids that had autism. As a behavior technician. So walk us through that first in terms of why you wanted to work in that field originally, why you wanted to pursue psych. As obviously a mental health podcast, we're really excited to hear about that a little bit more too.
I think I remember being in my psychology classes and there were so many different avenues with psychology that you could take, and I was kind of going back and forth. I was like, okay, do I want to be a sex therapist? Because I was always very comfortable talking about that with people. And then I was like, do I want to be I forget the word for it, but it's basically a therapist for murderers and rapists.
Oh,
and
there's therapists that work with serial killers.
Yeah. You go into jails and you're a therapist. I think it was a forensic therapist.
Okay.
And I thought about doing that, and then I read a book and I was like, ooh, it's a little too graphic for me. I'm not gonna do that. And then
totally fair.
I was in a class with a couple friends, and some guy came in and just spoke about registered behavioral technicians who work with children who have autism. And for some reason that just clicked. I was like, oh, I feel like that's where I'm meant to be. That just really makes sense for me.
Yeah.
And then I think the psychology behind it, because I think people are a little confused as to what autism might be or how it can show up in different people. So I always found it just very fascinating, and I loved it. Also, shout out to Love on the Spectrum. That is my favorite show. I love it so much.
I met Connor's brother, which is not that big of a deal, but
it's a huge deal.
A huge deal. I met him in Greenville, South Carolina, so random. And I was like, you look so familiar. And his friend was like, yeah, you might know him from Netflix. I'm like, oh my God, you're Connor's brother. I'm absolutely obsessed with you. But it is really cool. And I think especially with autism, people do have these pre-existing notions of what it is. So it's really cool that you were able to see other aspects of it too. With the forensic side of it, what made you interested? Are you someone that's interested in murder in general, true crime podcasts, all of that? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, I think it was pretty much just the way their brain works, because they have no empathy. There's a disconnect there.
Yeah.
And they don't feel bad for doing it. And I found that part of it fascinating. What happened, first of all, in your childhood to make you lose that or not have it at all? Is it something in the brain, or was it the way that you were raised? Is it, nature versus nurture type thing? So I always found that to be the more interesting side of it. And then I think I read an interview once of a therapist with someone who would murder women. And she literally said, what do you look for? What are you what's your go-to thing? And he said he looked for women who had their hair up in ponytails because it's easier to grab. Women with their heads down, not paying attention. And it also helped me reading it, because I was like, oh, okay, this is good to know that that's what they look for.
These
so
are
I know
signs.
to do the opposite. So yeah, it just was really, really fascinating to me.
That is so terrifying, but good things to know for sure. I think when I was watching or doing some research or something around Ted Bundy, I know he was someone that looked for very specific things that in women too. So women watch out, because
Yeah,
these
yeah.
people are absolutely terrifying. But it is really cool to hear that you really love understanding the why behind everyone. And I think we see that a lot in your characters in the council. For anyone that doesn't know, you guys need to check out the series and her new show too. But basically, you're someone who is like navigating life, and then you have these different mental constructs like helping you throughout these issues. So you have your logic and brain helping you, your confidence, man eater in the new episode. So funny, so good. And I was watching an interview where you said, obviously, you want people to find these things really funny and be able to relate to it, but also you want people to be able to see their own behaviors and understand why the way that they are and how they go about life from these different things. What have you learned about yourself from making this series, and how have you grown from learning those things about yourself too?
I mean, mainly, I learned the main thing with the council was when I first started it, I figured out, oh, my heart is making a lot of these decisions for me. And just growing up and being like a hopeless romantic, she always wants to see the best. I refer to her as like a different person.
Yeah.
She always wants to see the best in people, and she always wants to believe that like, oh, I can change him. Like he'll do it for me. And I realized that that's not necessarily a safe way to think or the smartest way to go about a relationship. So throughout the years, now knowing that and being able to break it down, I listen to my logic a lot more, and I take signs for what they are. I mean, like the other day I was texting a guy, he has not texted me back since. And my heart is like, oh, it was actually Imani. I was talking to Imani, and she was like, no, he's obsessed with you. He's in love with you. But my logic in the back of my head is like, I know what this means. I don't want to believe it, but like, come on, let's stop
We have to
dwindling.
follow
Like,
what we're
let's
actually
just
seeing.
move on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, I think In Your Heart character is one of my favorites too, because they just want to see the good in everyone, and they have such good intentions in that sense. But your logic really does need to come and play into your life, because it's so easy to like embellish these certain things that are happening. But then when you're looking at someone's actions, perfect example of a guy not texting you back. And sorry about that. Also, fuck that man. He's missing out. It does happen. But it is important to look at the logic. For you being within the entertainment industry, which is known for being a little more cutthroat in some areas, can be a little more toxic. Have you felt like that heart notion has changed? Do you continue to see the good in everyone, or has that changed over the years since you've been in this industry that has been known to be very difficult and have all sorts of personalities that may not necessarily have the best intentions for you?
Oh man, that's a good question. I think in the industry, I kind of go at it with logic first,
Okay.
but I also feel like I haven't been surrounded by anyone who would make me question their intentions. And I so far everyone that I've met in the industry, I've been very trusting of, but my heart does not take like the front to that. I'm like, okay, you're very nice. Thank you for saying these things.
Yeah.
But I do like the second somebody calls me and I know it's like a business meeting, I'm very much like logic first. And I'm
Got it.
like, okay, great. Tell me more.
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? What do you want from this? I think I come at it from a way different angle.
No, that's cool. I understand like how your personal life can look very different than you as a businesswoman, which is really cool how you can actually balance the two of those. With you being like an executive producer on your new show, how have you changed or grown learning more about the business side of things and being able to really build your personal brand with being behind like the production of your own show? I think it's so cool that you were doing that. I don't think I realized that you were an executive producer until doing research for this episode. I was like, Katie, go on, girl. Like, talk us through that a little bit more too. That's so sick.
I had a lot of creative freedom.
Yeah.
But I also trusted the opinions of other people. So there was a lot of times where I said, hey, I really want this. And they would be like, we should go with this option instead. And I was like, you know what? This is my first time doing this. I don't know what it means to make a show. I'm going to trust you guys. And I'm not really fighting hard for this. But there was one thing in the show that I fought really hard for months. And I was like, I'm not asking for a lot. I have not fought you guys on anything, but this is the one thing that I will not give up. And I like have to have this. And it was basically the theme song. The theme song being by Scott Hoying. There were 2 different versions. There was an a cappella version and then one with music in the background. I was like, it has to be a cappella. Like me, Katie, everyone knows I'm a fan of a cappella. I'm a fan.
I know you're a Pentatonics fan,
I'm
right?
a fan of Pentatonics.
Yes.
To have the main singer sing my theme song in a cappella.
So
like
sick.
I was like, it has to be a cappella. And they were kind of like, Katie, that like it doesn't make any sense. Why would we do a cappella? And I was like, it makes sense to me. And
This is all that matters.
It has to be this way. And that was like the one thing I really, really, really fought for. And finally I won. And I was so proud of myself when I got the email and they were like, we're gonna go with the a cappella version. I was like, oh, thank you.
That's huge.
Yeah.
You had to advocate for yourself, which the example is so funny because I'm an acapella girl too. I love it. I love the pentatonics, everything. So I'm glad that you did that because it really did make for it for the show too. Have you been someone that advocation for yourself has always come easy to you? Or was that something that stepping into more of this like business role, you're like, I'm at the top of my career in this sense. I have so much more room to grow. I need to begin to advocate for myself so people don't just make decisions for me that I don't necessarily feel comfortable with. Has that always come naturally to you? Or is this something you've learned in the last year while stepping into this new role as an executive producer and having your own show and everything else?
I would say it's something that I just started doing in this past year. I don't think I'm very much go with the flow.
Yeah.
So if someone's like, hey, you should do this, I'm like, okay, fine,
Yeah.
sure. I don't know much about it. But now I kind of question things a bit more. I go at things with a bit more caution. And I'm like, okay, let's really figure out, like, how is this going to help me? Is it not? Like, I don't want to do this. I think with, like, well, when it comes to like brand deals and asking for more money, that's sort of like my manager's job. But I lately have kind of been like, no, I think I deserve a little bit more money for that, you know?
Hell yeah.
So yeah, I'm still like a little nervous doing that because I'm like, what if they take the brand deal away completely because I asked for it too much?
Yeah.
But lately I've been like, just fucking ask for things. Just like ask for it. Say, hey, I actually think I deserve this. The worst they could do is just say no.
Exactly.
That's truly the worst they can do. And I'm like, okay, well, if they say no, then we'll ask for something a little bit smaller. But I'm going to hit hard because there have been too many times where I've asked for something small and then they offered like a bigger thing. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that was an option. Shoot. I should have asked for the bigger thing. And then by that point, it's too late. I'm like, damn it. So now I'm like, just ask for the bigger thing first and then go smaller.
Yeah. No, I'm so glad you said that. I think so many women especially have trouble with that. You see that just in like general jobs too of maybe someone like underselling for you when you're trying to get, a higher paycheck at work or something like that. And the best advice that I've gotten on this podcast is always ask big because they're either going to meet you in the middle or they're going to say no.
Right.
But if you don't do anything, you're going to stay in that like same stagnant point, which is not going to get you anywhere. So I love that you're advocating for yourself and doing things around that bend. My last question for you before we dive into the episode, because I could see us like chatting just about you for like literally the next hour because I'm loving it already, is a little bit more of a personal one, but something I feel comfortable asking because you've opened up about it on social media. You recently made a post about how you've decided to like go sober for the entire year, a journey dealing with some things, and you felt like alcohol was going to be a distraction as you're dealing with some of that. And we don't need to go into like the why behind that because that might be personal to you, but I'm really interested in what you've learned about yourself in this last year. I feel like taking a step back from alcohol takes so much self-control, so much self-discipline. It's something that I've also really resonated with because I've seen how alcohol has like prevented me from honestly being the best possible version of myself in the past. And I've had to reevaluate my relationship with alcohol a lot in the last few years. So I'm really interested in what you've learned about yourself in the last year when you were going throughout that journey too. I think it's so amazing. And it was really cool to see you open up about it too.
Thank you. I actually was going to post another video giving an update because the year is now over. So I have had a drink since then. But one thing I learned about myself is, one, I was definitely abusing it at the time. But I was able to take the year and sort of figure out why. And I noticed that the moments when I really crave alcohol is when I'm feeling lonely or like sort of feeling rejected in a sense. So whenever those feelings come up, now going into like, I'm no longer sober, I'm like drinking more casually. I know to stay away from it when those emotions come up. So that's the one thing I've learned. Don't just do it when you're mad. Don't do it don't find a reason to do it, if that makes sense, or like an excuse. It's sort of, for me now, I'm out with friends, everyone's having a glass of wine. I'm like, sure, I'll have a glass of wine.
More social.
Let's talk some shit. That's like the vibe where I allow it. But I no longer drink alone. That was a big thing that I was doing. I learned that it did affect my past relationship. When I was drinking, I would get really angry and I would say really mean things. And it just wasn't okay. And since then, I have apologized for doing that. But yeah, those were just a few things that I learned with myself. I also learned, we can take it a step further.
Yeah.
I didn't have sex for a year. And because of that, I also didn't have sex for a year. Did I say that? I didn't have sex for a year.
I didn't have sex for a year.
I didn't have a drink for a year.
Got it.
And because of that, I also didn't have sex for a year.
Wow.
And it's interesting. I noticed that when I was sober, I just didn't want to have sex. And especially like, I also didn't want to talk to guys.
Yeah.
But I noticed when I was drinking, I would get a little lonely and I would slide in someone's DM, or if I go on a first date, I would try to loosen up and have a drink, and then it got a little too loosey-goosey.
It was at his place at the end of the night. Yes, ma'am.
And yeah, I realized being sober, it just kind of like pushed me in the, like I decentered men at the same time, which was so liberating.
Yeah.
So liberating. Unfortunately, because of my job, my content is relationship based. So I am still sort of centering men in that sense.
Yeah.
But really in my personal life, my phone is dry. I really, really, for the most part, not interested. And then when I am interested in someone, they don't text back. And I'm like, okay, well,
and that's my sign. That's my sign. Well, how do you feel like decentering men, my last question for you before we really go on, has like elevated you? Because, you know, I think that's a big thing that we see on social media right now is a lot of women speaking about decentering men, and that looks different for everyone. Maybe that's no sex. Maybe that's, you know, getting rejected and not really focusing so much on that. Maybe that's not having sex for you or whatever that looks like. I think that looks differently for each woman. But how has decentering men really looked like for you? Have you felt yourself just like growing personally with that, like professionally? I'm so interested in how you feel like your life has changed, honestly, now that you're focused on other things outside of romantic relationships.
I would say I'm no longer sort of boy crazy like I was before. And also I'm very calm now. In the past, I would message a guy and then heart would take over and I would literally fantasize our wedding, fantasize our life together, all of this stuff. And then I would like fall in love with this fantasy and be like, this has to happen.
Yep.
And then when nothing came of it, it would completely break me. Now I sort of just see it at face value. I'll have a conversation with a guy and I'll be like, okay, that like cool conversation.
Yep.
Probably won't have this conversation again, but like, thank you so much for taking the time out to like have a coffee with me. So yeah, I feel like, that's sort of what it looks like for me. I don't fantasize anymore. I just kind of, I appreciate men when they walk by. I'm like, that is a handsome guy. And then I just let them continue walking. I no longer go out of my way to try to get their number, try to get, you know, whatever. Cause I'm very bold. I do that. I will walk up to a guy and be like, hey, can I have your number?
Yeah.
But I no longer go out of my way to chase it. Every once in a while, I will slide in a DM.
Of course.
But for the most part,
you're focused on you.
yeah.
That's such good advice, though. I do the same thing. I'm the type of person, too, and maybe I need to decenter men a little bit more, honestly, that will go on a first date, and I have the wedding dress picked out, 3 kids, the names, what the meeting of the parents is going to be look like, and then 10 times out of 10, because it's never really worked out for me in that sense. Something happens and then it doesn't fit that ideal that I have in my head, and then I'm really disappointed. And then I will turn to drinking or whatever in the past sometimes because of the loneliness too. I so much resonate with you in that sense. So thank you for sharing about that. I think a lot of women can definitely resonate with that. And I think it's really important for them to be able to see that there is a life on the other side outside of that. And you're proof of that, which is so cool.
Thank you.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Katie, for, letting us get to know you a little bit more. You guys know now we're going to jump into the advice for today. Before we get into the advice, a word from our sponsors. But today we are sponsored by Plot Twist, guys. This is the dating app, which is so funny because we just talked about disentering men, but this is what we're doing too. That allows you to team up with a friend, putting safety and connection first. It was founded by two female healthcare providers whose mission is to lessen the loneliness epidemic, focusing in on emotional, physical, and social well-being. Basically, what you do is you team up with your bestie and you are matched up with other pairs so you guys can go out on a date forever. And I think this is really cool. We've talked about this on Unlicensed, a few of the reasons why a lot of women are so anxious to go on dates. Obviously, general anxiety, putting yourself out there in the first place, is so nerve-wracking, especially in the dating app world, but also safety. You're thinking, I'm meeting up with this stranger, I have no idea who they are, and a lot of the time you think to yourself, man, this would be so much better if I had a friend going into the situation with me. So this is what this app, Plot Twist, does. It really allows you just to team up with your friend to give a little less anxiety, not figuring out who the one is, but really just putting connection first in all of these different arenas. So if you guys are interested in getting back into the dating world, head to the App Store, hit Plot Twist, or go to my link in bio on my Instagram at Unlicensed Advice and use code Unlicensed, uppercase or lowercase, and you guys can get started on your dating journey today. Today, now we are getting into the episode. I am so excited for today's episode. We are talking about personal branding, building your personal brand. Basically, this is the combination of your skills, values, and the impression you leave on others. It's how you're putting yourself out in the world. Katie is like the perfect example of someone who has built such a powerful personal brand for themselves. So I thought she would be the perfect guest for today. So this person wrote in and they said, I started my own social media journey last year and genuinely love it, but I'm really struggling with the personal branding part. I feel like my content is all over the place. I don't know how to focus or get to a point where people connect with it, and me because of the brand I build around myself. How the hell do I actually develop a personal brand? Where do I even start? And is it stupid to think I can make this a full-time career eventually? I'm trying to stay realistic, but this is harder than I thought. I want to build something bigger, more projects, real impact, something that lasts. I just don't want to get stuck in the content bubble with no clear direction. So we're going to hop into it, Katie. I've got lots of questions for you to help offer advice for this person who is building their personal brand. I first want to start into a little bit about the jump from maybe to a different career, maybe from a career to a passion project, something like that. I was watching an interview with you where you said before COVID and quarantine, you hadn't even really thought about acting for being an option for you. And now you're starring in your own show on Peacock, which is just so crazy to see that transition from the last few years or so. What advice would you have for someone who might be a little anxious to make that switch to a new career choice, or maybe they're still working their 9 to 5, but they want to start a passion project, personal branding project that's completely different than anything they've ever done before? What advice would you have for someone who's getting started in that jump from something to?
First and foremost, surround yourself with people who are going to be supportive of that decision, because I really feel like I wouldn't have been able to do it competently if it wasn't for my family. My family was very much like, oh my gosh, yes, do this. Like, no one was like, this is stupid. You've literally never expressed these sort of like emotions before. What makes you think you can do this? So surround yourself with people who can believe in that journey. And if someone shuts it down, if you want to keep them in your life, fine, but don't talk about it again in front of them. Number 2, when it comes to the anxiety of it, the one thing that helps me with anxiety or maybe worrying too much about what other people might think is I call it zooming out.
Okay.
And so I almost like look at myself from an aerial view, and then I zoom out and I see like the whole city. And I'm so tiny in there. And then I zoom out some more and I see the whole United States. And I'm so tiny in there. And then I zoom out even more and I see the earth. And I'm like, I am just this little speck. No one gives a shit.
Yeah.
Literally, no one gives. Just do what you want. You can literally be gone tomorrow. And sorry, in 50 years, no one is going to remember you. Sorry. But for me, it's a liberating thought. Even if I do something embarrassing, no one is going to remember it in 50 years. And that's great. In 100 years, no one's really going to remember the Kardashians. We're all literally going to be dust at some point. And so when I zoom out like that, it makes my anxiety feel so small and so just like not worth it. So that's one thing that helps me get out of my head and just pursue these scary, scary dreams, because I would rather try and fail than,
Mm.
never
Not do anything.
yeah,
Yeah.
and regret and think, what if?
That you started off so strong. Those are such good pieces of advice. And you're right. I think a lot of the time people are so worried about how other people will view them, but most people don't give a fuck
They
or will
don't.
remember what you're doing in 20 years. I was watching this video though with this entrepreneur, and he was saying when you're building your personal brand, it is so important to think about that lasting impact. Even if people may not remember you in 20 years, you kind of want to approach the situation and maybe I will have a legacy or something within that. With your own personal brand, did you sit down? Were you super intentional? This is the lasting impact I want to have in the world. Or were you like, fuck it, I'm going to put some content out. I'm going to see what catches, and we're just going to go into it. Do you feel like people need to be so methodical and put so much thought into everything? Or do you think people can just take a whim, start it, and see what catches on and see what gets popular and moves into the world too?
I think you could do either or. For me, what worked is my brand sort of fell into my lap. I had no idea. I just knew I wanted to do TikToks and that I could be successful at it. I had a feeling. I was like, I just got to figure out what sort of vibe I'm going for. So if you like scroll all the way down my TikToks, I was doing more like story times
I saw that,
and like
yeah.
funny little clips, like substitute teaching, and those did pretty well. So I was like, okay, maybe this is my like niche. This is what I'm gonna do. I'll keep subbing and then I'll do more story times. And then I had this like, confusing little time with a guy, and I was like, well, I haven't seen anyone, like everyone talks about like relationship goals and what their boyfriends are doing for them and all the happy stuff. I was like, there's no one out there right now that's talking about the shitty side of dating. And I have to like just put this out for other people. So I filmed the council skit for the first time, sent it to my family. I was like, this is so fucking stupid. I literally was like, I don't even want to post this. My family was like, no, post it.
Do it. Support system, yes.
No, literally.
Uh-huh.
And then it ended up going viral. And I thought it was just going to be like a one and done. Someone commented and was like, make this a series. And I was like, oh, I guess I could make this a series. And then that's how it fell into my lap. And I sort of became this like relationship sort of content person.
Yeah.
So I would say just throw things out there. See what gets you the most views. If it's something that you want to keep doing and you can like push it, just expand on that and make that your thing. But consistency is key. So try one thing, do it for a couple weeks, see where that gets you. Wait, because it could hit, And then once it does, that'll bring more eyes to you, and then keep going with it.
I was going to talk to you about consistency, and it's so cool because you hit some of my questions within that too, because I think a lot of people have trouble finding the voice. So I love that you said of see what sticks. You can throw out a bunch of things and then afterwards see what's popular, and also see what you really enjoy talking about, because you don't want to start something that 2 videos in, you're like, I fucking never want to speak about this thing again, but people love it. So what are you going to do now at that point? But the consistency point is really cool. And I've talked with other content creators, social media influencers on here before about consistency. I think consistency in some aspects of your life can look so differently. So if you're starting at the gym, for example, don't even get me started on that because I'm trying to get back into the gym too.
Me too.
Like some people might, start with 6 days a week. That's great for them. They can hit it every day. I'm someone that if I'm starting back into the gym, I'm like 3 to 4 days a week.
Right.
If I know I'm starting at 6, I'm not getting in there at all. With social media, content creation, building your brand, do you feel like consistency needs to be an everyday thing when you're starting off? Or can it look different for each person? You make a video on Monday. Maybe you have your video series that goes out every Monday. It gets some traction. What does that look like in terms of consistency, in terms of success specifically with building your personal brand?
I think for me, I've noticed that the best is it doesn't have to be an everyday thing. Actually, don't do every day because that might hurt you in the end. And I'll explain why.
Okay.
For me, when I fell into a groove, I was doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And that worked for me. I didn't want to do quantity over quality. I wanted to really think about my skits, but I wanted somewhat of like, I wanted people to get it often. So I did Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then I burnt myself out. However, that might not be the case for some people. But the way the algorithm works, if a video is doing really well, if you want to hit while the iron is hot. So the sweet spot is upload another video similar to it about 48 hours after. Don't do it right after because the algorithm is going to hide it underneath your more popular video and people aren't even going to see it at all. So you want to wait because right now I have a video that's doing really well. And I know if I post, it's going to get hidden underneath that one. Like no one will even see it. So I'm like, let me wait until this dies down and then I can post another one.
Makes sense.
So I would say that's your sweet spot is like every 48 hours.
Okay.
If it's a good video to post like that. And it gives the algorithm time to reset and do that stuff. But if you have good videos, as far as consistency goes, you can do like once a week and people will still
see it.
Yeah. So yeah,
Okay.
I would say stay consistent in the content you're doing.
Got it.
But it doesn't need to be an everyday thing.
That's good advice. Because on TikTok all the time, I think people are like, you need to post every day 3 to 5 times a day. I'm like, 3 to 5 times a day. If I'm working, what if I'm in the bathroom at my corporate job? Like, when am I supposed to do this, bro?
Don't do that because you'll post 4 videos. One of them are going to do well.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you want, sure, fine, whatever. But that's too much for me. I'm not, if I see someone's funny video, I prefer when people have less content and I can go on their page and I don't have to scroll far to see like a specific video that I was looking for. Because I'm like, oh, okay, I know all of these videos are going to be hits. Whereas like you see someone in the same outfit for 8 videos and I'm like, oh, what are you doing? Why? Get a job. No, this is their job. But it's a bit much.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, pick up the phone, call a friend.
Please schedule your therapy appointment immediately. Please do that for us. No, I think that's so funny. And I think in some cases like that does really hinder people's flow of creativity. Something that I've loved about your series is that you're constantly introducing new ideas. So I think you started off with these characters and I'm even seeing like newer characters in your series now. How can people continue to like elevate themselves in terms of putting more creative ideas and continuing that flow? How have you specifically done that in terms of continuing to elevating your brand with new creative ideas? Because I think people can easily get stuck in a box and then they don't bring any other elements into it. And eventually people might be comfortable with that content, but they might get bored because it's the same thing that they've been seeing for the last few years. But I think you've done a fantastic job of always bringing something new. So how have you done that? Do you sit down? Do you brainstorm? Do you work with your team? Or you just like, you dream about it, you pop up in your dream like, fuck, this would be so funny. What does that look like for you?
I usually, unfortunately, it's the way I think of like new things to come up with as far as like new skits and whatnot. It's whatever's going on in my life at the time. So every council video you see probably happened to me like 2 weeks prior. And I just let it like die down a bit so people don't know that I'm talking about them. But that's like that's the hard part. So when the council goes quiet for a bit, that literally means nothing is happening. I'm not dating anyone. I'm not doing anything. I have no like frustration or whatever. But sometimes if I'm like really thinking of something, my sister helps me a lot. My sister Christina, and she also was one of the writers on the show as well.
I didn't know that. That's so cool.
She was there with me from like day one.
Wow.
And she's really good at, I might start with an idea. So I'll be like, I kind of want to talk about this. And then she'll sort of flesh it out and come up with jokes. So a lot of jokes that have gone viral have been my sister's. Like, I'm funny, but like she's very funny too.
She's got the wit. She's really got it.
When we work together, we can like bounce back off of each other.
Yeah.
And sometimes if I'm like, oh, I need to figure out a video, blah, 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 I need to come to her with an idea, or else she's like, Katie, get off my phone. I don't have time for this. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and like
You're using
brainstorm
up all
with
my data for nothing, girl.
Yeah,
Keep
you
it
gotta
moving.
give me something to work with, and I'll help you get there.
Yeah.
But that usually helps a lot. Sometimes my friends, if they tell me stories, I'll take it, twist it, make that into a skit.
Love that.
But still, some days I get down. I'm like, do people even still want to watch this? But I have to remind myself, everyone is constantly going through dating issues.
Yes.
So it's one of those things that will sort of never get old. It's just trying to figure out how to keep it fresh or talk about new things. Because I'm like, damn, how many times can I talk about getting ghosted? How many times can I talk about this? So yeah, I never know what's going to land, what's not. I just try to make it for me and sort of like help myself figure out whatever I'm going through. if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like
But
therapy
yeah.
for you as you're making these videos. And I think it's really cool because it is every one of your videos, one of the videos any girl, woman can look and be like, I've been in that exact same situation before. It's so cool that you're showing like your flaws and your quirks and your failures even in that sense too. I think with building a personal brand, people struggle with showing those sides. They only want to show the curated perfection like side. I think when I first got started just like making TikToks, I wanted to, this is the advice. I'm like, girl, shut the fuck. Why am I giving advice? This is why I interview people. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about for real. So what advice would you have for someone in terms of like showing all sides of themselves, all facets of themselves, not just like the perfect one-sided ones? Because I don't think people personally are relatable when you're just showing like these perfect sides. Like I want to see your skin broken out on a day. I want to see your dating fails. I want to see you losing your job and building it from like the top up and whatever that looks like. So what advice would you have for that and showing that other side as well?
I, as far as advice goes, I would say if you're scared of being vulnerable online and whatnot, think about like the video you're gonna post, and then ask yourself what you would think if you saw it come across your For You page. How would you feel? Would you feel seen, or would you be like, "Oh, girl, you shared a little too much there"? And so sometimes that's how I look at it. I try to look at it from the outside and I'm like, okay, if this popped up on my For You page, would I appreciate this video?
Yeah.
And also, it's a little scary, but it's such a fucking breath of fresh air because social media is so curated and everyone is putting their best foot forward. And it makes, when you look at people who just bought a house or they're getting married or, you know, they're traveling the world and they have their fucking Gucci bags and shit, you feel like such shit about yourself that when someone comes onto my For You page and they're like, I'm 27, I still don't know how to do my taxes. I'm like, yes, okay, thank you. Okay, it's not just me. It's like you feel like you can breathe. You're like, oh, thank God. Like someone is as fucked up as I am. And people really love that more, honestly. They may not show it, even if they don't give it a like. Someone is appreciating that you said that out loud.
Yes.
So I would say just don't you're gonna help more people than you think by being vulnerable and saying it. You may get judged, but who isn't gonna get judged? Honestly,
it goes back to your first point of it's gonna happen anyways, but people are not gonna remember or care. And if they're judging you, they have too much time on their plates. Like they need to start their own thing too. With that, have you always been someone, just like a one-off question, have you always been someone who's been able to share private parts of your life? I know you're playing characters in this sense, but you just said like these things have happened to me 2 weeks prior. So you really are giving people a little bit of insight into your own life and a big part of your life. Like romantic parts of your life and dating is so personal and it has been really cool to see that. But have you been someone who's always been able to talk about your life with other people, or have you become more comfortable with that vulnerability since starting social media? What does that look like for you?
Oh, I feel like I've always been able to talk about.
Okay, you've always been like more of an open book in that sense.
I've for sure been an open book, and I didn't really have much to talk about like in high school, if that makes sense. Like I didn't really go through much.
Okay.
So one thing that I was very open about was sex. I would always talk to my friends about sex, and I found that it was healthy for me because I learned a lot that way. Just in the sense of like, oh, this is normal. Okay, this happens to you too. Great. Okay, so good to hear. I'm not the only one going through this. And there's so many times, especially as like a young person, not saying like young kids should talk about sex, but there are some people who are so nervous and so afraid to talk about it. And I find that was always like my opening line when meeting like a new friend or something, and be like, tell me your craziest sex story. And the way people open up and immediately get comfortable with you, and then you guys can just like laugh and joke and be like, oh my God, that happened. Yeah, no, that happened to me too. This was embarrassing. I'm glad I'm not the only one. And so that I found was really helpful. And it sort of like unlocked this part in me where I was like, oh, if we if we share certain things that we've gone through, it really does help put another person at ease, and it makes them more comfortable to open up to you.
Yes.
So I wouldn't say I trauma dump,
Yeah.
but I'll, have a casual conversation, and then I'll slip in and be like, oh yeah, and then my dad died, and this is what happened. And people, they loosen up a bit, and they're like, oh, like I went through this, and I'm like, oh, okay. Like, it's never really, I'm not gonna meet someone and be like, yeah, so my dad died.
Yeah.
And then like truly trauma dumping. I like to work it into a conversation.
Yeah.
But talking about these things, it just like it brings people together, I found. So I love talking about the bad, the ugly, things that people are too nervous to say out loud because they're afraid they might be judged, or they're afraid that they're the only ones going through it. I want people to feel like they're not the only ones going through something.
Yes.
And even if I haven't gone through it, I'll always follow it up with, oh, I have a friend who went through the same exact thing. I know you are not alone.
Yes.
So that's always been open.
I love that. I mean, no, it's so cool. You're like building community online, but obviously you're building it in your real life. And I really love that you do that, because sometimes I'm someone too. And my friends joke about this as well. I had a red flag party last year where you like had the white and you put the red. And mine was, we'll ask people about their trauma, because I cannot stand small talk. Even you coming in today, I'm like, hey girl, how was your Saturday? I'm like, bitch, shut the fuck up. Like, I really cannot stand small talk. So I love that you're immediately open with people like that, because 9 times out of 10, people do want to talk about themselves and get deeper. Sometimes you just need that person to really push it just a little bit so they are able to. Obviously appropriate, but I kind of love that you approach it in almost like this comical sense. Like that happened to me too. Like that was crazy. We both did those things, and then people are comfortable and they open up to you over time. So I think that's really cool that you do that. You're building community in your real life. Obviously, you're building community online as well. What advice would you have for someone who is trying to build a community within their personal brand? What should that look like on social media? How should they be engaging with people? Because I think your community at the end of the day is the thing that's going to make you the most successful. These are the people that are going to stand behind you. These are the people that are going to make you popular so you can get brand deals. These are the people that are going to buy your product. And these are the people that if you're trying to sell your product or your value or whatever, they're the ones that are listening. So how have you built your community, and what advice would you have for someone building their community throughout that too?
One thing that helped me was in the very beginning, I went live a lot.
Okay,
and
nice.
Spoke back and forth with people, and to my OGs, we called it the Council After Hours. And I would always sing After Hours. I would always start it off with that.
That's so good. I didn't know you did that.
And it was really fun because I allowed people who might have been nervous to ask a sexual question. It would be like after 10 p.m. and I would let them, I said, no question is off limits. Ask me anything you want and I will be honest about it.
Yeah.
And I had to stop doing that because what I thought was a very intimate moment was being screen recorded and posted onto YouTube the next day.
No.
So I was like, okay, like y'all are putting my shit out there. I was trying to like have a moment with you.
I thought we were in cutesy one-on-one conversation. There's like a million people on the line.
No, literally. But I didn't mind it because I was like, well, I said it out loud anyways. It's nothing that I'm ashamed of. I just didn't know it was gonna be on YouTube.
Right,
like, damn.
right.
But I should go live again and speak with some people just to say hey. But that was my thing. I would go live every single night, talk to people, and you do form a little community because even if there's 10 people in your life, learn their names. You're going to start recognizing names and you're going to be like, oh my goodness, how are you? And you're going to have conversations with them. And it's very fun. And just be every single person who is showing up in your live is there because they just want to talk to you and hear you talk.
Yeah.
And yeah, going live is a fun time. There was this woman who I used to watch every single night on live, and it was just so fun. It was like a little party every night, and it was like the same time every night for like an hour and a half, and she would talk to everybody, and that's like the best way to communicate. Also, sometimes it depends. If I'm like, sometimes I'll post a video and then hop off right away because I'm like, I can't do it today. I don't want to see what people are saying. I don't want to see the comments and whatnot. But other times, like when I post a video and people are posting funny ass comments, I'll like go through and and respond. And I go through my messages every single day, and I try to respond to normal ones at least. Because some people be saying some bad shit, crazy stuff in my messages, but for the most part, I like to respond to people. So now I'm actually starting to feel like I've not been. I post every day, but I'm like, I need to be communicating more. I should go live tonight. I'll probably go live tonight.
Okay, go live tonight. She's like, actually, no, you've been so busy. That's so fair. It is really cool that you do that, because I know so many people who are at your level of success that are like, I'm not doing any of this. So it is really cool that you still do that. What you mentioned, like maybe some of your like fan base, and like the Council After Hours is so funny. I love that you guys called it that. But how have you had to set boundaries with some of your community? Because I do see some of these content creators on social media talking about these like crazy experiences that they might have with some of their community. I'm like, I don't know where people get off that they feel comfortable enough to do these things. But a lot of the time they have to set boundaries themselves to like kind of distance themselves from that particular person or whatever that looks like too. How have you set boundaries? And can you recall like the craziest thing someone's ever messaged you, said to you, that you're like, this is not okay for you to say at all? I'm not liking this energy coming to me. What the heck?
I have been very blessed, very lucky. I have not felt the need to set any boundaries at all. Every single person who has messaged me, for the most part, pretty sane.
Okay.
No one has done any batshit crazy stuff. No one has taken like everyone who follows me is truly like a friend. And like I'll post on my story sometimes and I'm like, guys, just between me and you, like this is my close friend. And they're like, girl, you have 300,000 followers. Like, what do you mean just between me and you? Right. I'm like, no, like it's literally no one is gonna see this. I treat it as if it's like a private account.
I love
and
that.
When other people post my videos and there's like new eyes on it and like comments, I'm like, oh, those are not my people. They don't get it. The people who follow me and are in my comments, they get it. Those are my friends. And seeing people out in person, I've always told them that if they want to come up to me and say hello, they're more than welcome to. And I've had not a lot, but I've had a few times where people have come up, they said hello. I love it. We maybe take a picture, but everyone, I don't know. I just have a cool ass fan base.
Yeah.
Like everyone is so chill. They're so nice. I would say the only weird thing that ever happened was like right after the council started going viral, I had flowers on my doorstep.
Like at the place where you live?
Oh. Like right at my doorstep, not even like a mailbox or anything, right at my doorstep. And there was just a note that said date ? No name, no nothing. And I was like, that's weird. And I was like,
that's actually terrifying. It's going back to like our forensics with the stuff you were talking about in the beginning, girl. It's giving that low key.
And I was like texting some guy at the time and I was going to be like, oh, thank you for the flowers. But I like kind of like tiptoed around it. And I was like, did you send me flowers by any chance? And he was like, no. I was like, oh, okay, right. I called the flower company. It was like 1-800-Flowers. I called them and I was like, do you have the name of the person who sent this to me? And they were like, yeah, well, we can't give that out. And I was like, well, I'm going to explain to you the situation. I'm an online personnel.
Yep.
This is a little dangerous. I don't know how they got my address. I just need to know who this person is. Once I said that, they were like, oh, okay, we'll get the name for you.
Yeah.
They gave me the name. I don't know if it was like an alias or something, but I looked it up on my followers, couldn't find that name, couldn't find it anywhere. And I never heard anything after that. It was, that was like the only really weird thing that happened. And I till this day have no idea who sent the flowers.
That's so scary, actually. I'm glad it stopped happening, but that is like a little nerve-wracking in terms of like you never got an answer. Something about the unknown always freaks me out. I'm like, I need to know like who this was, why they were doing this, all the above. Ooh, that's freaky. Well, thank you for sharing that too. But
only guy to send me flowers, by the way.
Yeah, that guy should have been the one to do it. Damn, man, I cannot. I want to talk a little bit about rejection when building your personal brand too, because obviously, especially in the entertainment industry, I'm sure you've heard no a good amount of times. Me not even like being anywhere where I want to be in my career, I've heard no, just from like people not wanting to come on the podcast, things like that. What advice would you have for someone navigating the industry in terms of rejection? And can you name a time where you've been rejected within this industry while building the Council series? What does that really look like for you?
Fun fact, we pitched the Council to another streaming service first, and they said no. Well, they said not yet. They said it was a little too new, it was a little too experimental in a sense. Like
Okay.
I had nothing behind me. I had no credits. I was just a person who had this popular TikTok, and they were like, "This is a little too much to invest in, and there's uncertainty there." But it for a while I was like, "Damn, did we put all of our eggs in one basket? Is this like a no-go?" Maybe a year after, that's when NBC approached me and was like, "Hey, do you want to pitch the council as a television show?" Basically,
Yeah.
is what happened, and it ended up working out that way. And I love Peacock, and I just like I love it so much more. But yeah, it's trying to think. It's one of those things where I love what Law Roach said. He about like Zendaya and her fashion. He said if it's a no once, it's a no forever. And there's so much power behind it
Wow.
because it almost like gives you this energy of like, oh, okay, it's a no now, but in the future you're gonna want me and I'm gonna say no. It like gives you
Ooh,
that sort of
yes.
energy.
Yes.
And so now whenever someone tells me no, I'm like, okay, you're gonna regret that.
Yeah.
If it's a no now, it's a no forever, and I'm gonna fucking remember this. So that's been my energy sort of moving forward.
yeah.
And I feel like it gives me a little boost, and it's sort of like manifestation because you're telling yourself like they're gonna want to work with me in the future, and I'm gonna say no.
I love that.
So yeah, that's how I've been dealing with rejection lately. Same thing with guys. I'm like, oh, you're gonna come around.
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna come around. You're gonna fucking slide in my DMs. But it was a no once. It's nope.
You will
We're
never
done.
get this again.
We're done.
Yeah.
You tried. You
Yeah.
lost.
Katie, that's actually so cool because, and immediately I thought about dating when you said that too, but it is so easy for something that you want so badly. They say no and you're like, okay, but maybe I can figure out a way that that'll happen. And the network is a perfect example. And then later on, Peacock comes to you and is like, hey, we actually want to do this instead. That's so cool. They did everything so tastefully. It was so meant to be.
Yeah.
And I know it's like so corny, but like rejection really is redirection in that sense. Like
Yeah.
something better is coming for you, even if it looks so different than the original thought that you had in your head. And I love that. And I really love how you remain so authentic in yourself. You have to have so much respect for yourself, honestly, when being able to take that no and be like, I'm leveling up and fuck you when you come back around. How have you been able to maintain that level of authenticity and while building your brand? I feel like especially you with your level of success, it could be so easy to get the big head and start to go into the routes that everyone else wants you to go into. But it seems like you very much have stayed true to yourself. And correct me if there's been areas of this time where you felt like you haven't been, but how have you maintained this level of authenticity? I think that's really important, that authentic point when people are building their personal brand, because it's the only thing you can really turn back to at the end of the day in terms of like having self-respect for everything that you started.
I think I call it imposter syndrome. Call it, what's the word I'm looking for? There are so many times where I'm invited to an event and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing in this room? Why am I here? And then people will come up to me and they'll be like, oh, I recognize you. And I'm like, you do?
That's
really?
so crazy.
I'm literally like, you found my account? That's insane.
You watch my videos? The fuck?
Because I'm still in this, like, like people have to remind me. They're like, you have a show on Peacock. And I'm like, oh, you're right. I do. Because like people will ask me, they're like, what do you do? And I was like, I do TikToks. And my friend's like, you have a fucking show.
Katie, you
and
have
I'm
a
like,
show.
oh, I'm an actress and executive producer.
Yes,
actually.
ma'am.
Like, thanks for asking. But it's, yeah, I always still, how I like to see myself is like one of like a regular folk, like infiltrating the industry and like going back and like spilling tea to everyone. Like that's how I see myself, because there's like so many times
industry plant
where I've been like, I've gone to this like event and guys, let me tell you what the fuck happened. I'm like, listen to this shit. This is what they're doing over there. Like I don't see myself as like one of them. I still see myself as like a consumer and like someone who is very much just like trying to get into the room. And I think that's also because there are a lot of times where I'm not invited somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have brand deals knocking on my door. I am going to them and I'm being like, "Hey, do you want to work with me?" Still, begging to be invited to events. Um, so I still feel like I I think that's what's causing me not to get a big head. Um, be shopping at Walmart,
Yes,
my
ma'am.
card declined. Like I'm like there's no reason for me to have a big head right now. Um, Not at all. My family be humbling me. We're watching Peacock and
Uh-huh.
they'll scroll right past my show and be like, "Fuck
They're
that,
right, right to Love Island, right to Love Island.
bitch." But it's yeah. I'm just like I'm anytime I get invited somewhere, I
Mhm.
am thankful and full of gratitude and blessed. And I'm like, oh, you want to talk to me? Okay, that's great. Like even here, I'm like, oh, yay! Like I have something to do.
You're so cute.
But because at any moment it could be gone.
Mm,
So I'm just like very thankful for any opportunity that I have to begin with.
yeah.
I have no fucking clue what the question was.
No, you answered it. You answered. I said, "How do you stay authentic?" It comes down to like I mean, it sounds like you're
My
still
card
getting.
constantly declining. My literal
Yeah,
on the
well,
way
my
to
authenticity is that I got declined at Walmart the other
no,
day.
on the way to dinner, my bank account was like, "Girl, low balance, low
No,
balance, low
it's so it
balance."
reminds me of like when you're in a bar with your friends and you're like, "Oh, I got it, guys," and then you have to like transfer money from your savings to
No,
your checking.
literally.
You have to turn the brightness all the way down. Like no one's gonna see that I have like $20 in my checking and $400 in my savings
That
account. It's
literally
okay.
happened to me when I
Oh,
went
yeah.
to LA. Me and my friend, we went to In-N-Out, and he
Uh-huh.
picked me up from the airport, and I was like, In-N-Out is on me, dude. You picked me up from the
This
airport.
$12 meal.
I handed it to the woman. She said it declined. And my friend looked at me and I went, I have another card. I have another card. And I'm like literally like this in the car, like, please go through, please go through.
You're like credit card. Don't fuck me up this time. Oh, girl, the way I've been there. But it's so cool. I was gonna ask you. That is so cool that you're still grinding. Because I was gonna ask you, are these opportunities just coming to you? Like you've built a place in your career, people are coming to you, or you still have to put the effort out there, still networking. So it seems like you're still really doing a lot of the work to get yourself out there, which I
Hmm.
think is important to have that strong work ethic when you're building your personal brand and everything related to that too. Do you ever get nervous about I think a lot of people building their personal brand get nervous about being stuck in like a specific niche of like this bubble
Hmm.
of like obviously you're doing relationship content is the
Yeah.
biggest thing. How can people like implement change within their branding while
Hmm.
yes, remaining loyal to their community who love them for those specific videos that they make, but at the end of the day, remaining loyal to themselves as we are like constantly evolving and changing and you want to like bring forth new ideas. Do you ever get nervous about being stuck in a bubble? And if so, how do you want to like implement changes within your content, your future shows, because you're going to be in many more, all the above to keep leveling up in that sense?
I can't answer that because it's
Mm,
something that I'm going through right now.
okay.
Like I said, wanting to decenter men, I fucking hate making videos about relationships now because
Okay.
I'm like, I don't want to talk about fucking man. I don't want to do it anymore. And them
Uh-huh.
constantly disappointing me. And people are like, oh, you could do the counsel for other things. Those videos don't do as well. It's just a matter
Mm.
of fact. I try, they don't do as well. I did start like a little series where I was doing adult center, like hotline or something like
Okay.
that. The adult help center, something like that. Those videos did pretty well, but like as far as adulting, there's only so many things that you can like talk about, I feel like, and not understand before
Yeah.
you just sound like an idiot who wasn't raised right.
Yeah.
Um, so currently, I was on the phone with my sister, and she was like, your videos lately, even though they've been doing well, have been all over the place. All over the place. I think I did like a little video about AI. I did a video mocking the newest Netflix documentary. I did a video. What was my other good video? I did like another thing that was talking about something else. They're kind of like all over the place, and I'm just trying to figure out
Mm.
how to get out of this mold, but still like keep myself on social media and have somewhat of a consistency. And I'm still looking for that and I can't find it. And of course, I want to keep doing the counsel, but um, I also kind of want to step away from that just because it's so I feel like it's dry, you know? Like
ready for
I've
something
talked
new.
about everything.
Yeah.
At least everything that I've gone through.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. And it's really, really hard, and I'm trying to figure it out, and I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing I can't give advice on. We're all in the same boat together.
That's okay though. And I love that you were transparent about that. I think it would be so easy for you to come on here today and like give some fake ass advice and be like, well, this and this and this. But like, it seems like you're figuring that out for yourself right now, which probably is scary in a lot of senses of like, what is the next step for me? But it's going to be the most satisfying thing when you figure out what that next thing for you. And you're like, okay, this is the thing that I wanted. So I actually very much appreciate you being like, can't answer it, dude. I'm brainstorming this whole damn week to figure out what that is, which
Don't
I think
listen
is
to me
fantastic.
on that one. Very.
But honestly, that's all my questions I have for you. Any last words of advice that you want to offer to this person who's building their personal brand? What do you want to say to this person who's building their brand? They're nervous about finding the voice, everything. You've already given so much amazing advice, but just like a last words of wisdom for this person going into the week.
So cliche, but be yourself. Because there are so many times where I've seen someone go viral and they have this like little way of speaking or this like specific, like for example, Simone. She like has this like way of speaking. I'm trying to think of like a specific way she'll say something. But you know, she has this like she hits the punchline a certain way in her voice. And I've noticed other people try to recreate it, and it comes off as so fake. Because it's like, I know you're watching B. Simone right now. And I know that's where you're getting this type of humor from. And that's not you. And we see through it.
Yeah.
Speak the way that you speak. Something might come up where people really like it and it's part of the joke, or it's not. Don't try to form your videos the same way as someone else. I remember I was literally watching a TikTok the other day, and it was this guy. We have very similar humor, and I found myself, because I had been scrolling on his page for a while, I found myself almost filming a video in the same way that he filmed his, and I had to like catch myself and be like, oh, don't do that.
That's not me.
Like
That's not me.
Yeah, like I understand. Like I may be a fan of it, but like don't copy this. And it's very easy to like accidentally copy something in the way that someone does something when you really like it. So I would say be yourself, truly. Know what you're good at. Me, I don't do the like early mornings.
6 a.m. with the green juice.
Yeah, with the green juice. And people know exactly where to put they have the camera all over the fucking place.
How many tripods do you have in your damn house?
I'm like, I'm getting so many different angles of you pouring your coffee. Are you literally stopping, moving the camera, pouring more of your coffee? I'm not fucking doing that. But like, kudos to you. And I know if I tried, I would butcher it. Like the camera would be every which way. You would see like me pouring
it's like
the coffee.
Under me while I'm eating my cereal. Yeah.
It would just look so dumb. That's not what I'm good at. And I know that. So I don't make videos like that. I've tried. There are so many times where I try to do like a day in the life vlog, and I look so fucking dumb. I'm like, what camera are they using? Because it truly looks, I'm trying to hold my hand the same way.
It's like in the fridge. It's like, how are you getting this shot in the fridge?
No, literally.
The cheese is like in 4D. I don't understand.
And they're like, they know how to work the camera. And I'm like, that's not what I'm good at. So I'm going to keep giving the low quality shit because that's what people are used to. I'm not going to try to get fancy with it. Each angle, I think my last council video, like everyone had completely different lighting on them. And I was like, I don't care. I don't care. You know what you're getting with me. Like, don't expect this to be high quality. This isn't the show.
Y'all are gonna laugh, and that's what matters.
Yeah, you're watching this on TikTok, all right? Keep the expectations low. But definitely, be yourself. Know what you're good at. Don't just try to do something because you've seen it go viral in the past.
Yeah.
Try to create something new. Also, this is my final word, and it's gonna piss some people off.
Okay. I love this.
I saw this quote the other day, and it made me cringe so fucking hard. And it was, women trying to be influencers is equivalent to men trying to be rappers. Oh. It hurts your feelings a bit.
I just got shivers down my
fucking body. It hurts your feelings a bit because you're like, oh, fuck. That is what it's giving.
Ew, it's kind of true.
It is true. And if I had seen that and wasn't where I was, I would have pulled back. I would have been like, y'all got it. Like, I'm not trying to do this shit anymore.
Yeah.
But all that to say is it's not meant for everybody.
Yeah.
And I understand the way that the world is. It looks glamorous. People are making money very quickly, and it looks like your average Joe Schmo is going viral, and you think you can do it too. There's something there within them that is enjoyable to watch. It could, who's this girl, Ashby? Have you seen her? She dresses up as like the Lorax and goes
I've
live.
seen so many. I'm on Halloween TikTok right now, so I might have seen her, but like half my page is Lorax.
There's this girl recently that I've seen, Ashby, and she just dresses up as like the Lorax or Megamind or Hamilton, and she'll go live. But if you sit and watch her, she's funny.
Yeah.
Like I saw that. I saw her and I was like, oh, she's going to get auditioned so soon. Like she has it.
Yeah.
She's very funny. She's very quick-witted. And it may, if the average person is looking at her, it may seem like she's the average person. And it's just like, oh, I can dress up as the Lorax and go viral.
But they don't have that wit and that charm that she has naturally.
She's got this humor to her that cannot be like she'll say jokes and I'm like, damn, I wish I came up with that. Like that was fucking funny.
Yeah.
I think I just spit everywhere. I'm passionate about her, dude. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Some people are able to, you could have like one viral video. That doesn't mean you can sustain it for years and years and years. I'm lucky that I was able to sustain it for as long as I could. And it's okay. It's okay to admit that like you can't be, it's just, it's not for everybody.
Yep.
So I would say like, if you want to do this and you really have like content that you want to put out into the world, I don't know. Just like make sure that that's, what are you doing it for? Do you really, really feel it in your bones? Like this is what you're meant to do? Or are you doing it because you want that lifestyle?
Yep.
You want to experience what everyone else is experiencing? Because I'm telling you right now, it's not all it's cracked up to be. I mean, don't get me wrong. Having an email come through being like, Katie, your flight is booked. Your driver will be there at like 6 a.m. A man in a suit puts my luggage in the car. And
got some champagne in the back
I got some champagne in the back seat. That's pretty lit. Not gonna lie. That's the perk. That's the perk. But for the most part, like going to these influencer parties, some of them are really, really, really funny. But for the most part, I'm like, oh man, this is just like being at a regular like bar down the street. That's what it is. You realize that everyone is actually human, and you're like, oh, it's cool meeting a celebrity, but at the same time, like this feels like being at a bar down the street. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So don't try to, be there just because it looks cool.
Make sure you love it and that you're resonating. But at the end of the day, make sure you like it because you're making the videos and it might look cool on the outside with the appearances. But if you're hating every time that you're like having those meetings about your brand, making videos, whatever, and you're like, I don't want to fucking do this. I just want to like be seen, then it's not for you.
Right.
I completely agree.
Right.
I completely agree. That's good advice, Katie. Now, the limo did sound nice with the picking up at the airport.
Yeah. Those are the perks. Those are the perks. Free tickets to Universal. I'm not going to lie. Those are the perks. But, they are very far and few between.
Yes. No, I'm
totally very grateful when I get them.
Yes.
I'm like, oh,
no.
I enjoy this.
That is such good advice. And thank you so much for being here today. This was like genuinely such a cool conversation. So cool to hear you like talk about the business side of everything, because I feel like most of the interviews have been like specifically about dating. So it's been cool to see you in this different light. Let the people know where to find you, girl. Know everything that you're working on. Let them know where they can find you. Plug away, please.
You can find me on TikTok at Katie Florence, Instagram at Katie Florence, or on Instagram at the.council. You can also find me on Peacock underneath the Emerging Artist series, The Council. You can go on YouTube and find me on Nectar's channel doing some blind dating. I did 2 videos on there where I blind dated.
That.
Yeah. Fun. I have a new one coming out in like 2 weeks.
Okay, exciting.
So yeah, that's where you can find me right now.
Oh yeah. Guys, go check her out. You know where to find her. Thank you so much again for being here.
Thank you.
This was so fun today. If you guys enjoyed today's episodes with amazing guests like Katie, you know where to find us on all of our social media platforms at Unlicensed Advice on TikTok and Instagram, so you can look at fun video clips, and also our YouTube channel too, Unlicensed. And as always, guys, if you're someone who wants to be on the show, you live in Atlanta, fill out that form on my website. And also, if you want to just submit a story of anything that you want advice on, head to that Google form, head to my social media, and we'll find it. But I love you guys, and we'll see you next week for next week's episode.